There are roughly 4 or 5 main asset classes in the modern world. Almost anyone who gets rich and stays rich does it in one or more of these ways. Okay, there are probably dozens of other ones, but what am I, an economist? You have stocks, and with those stock options, then you have gold and other metals, then you have crypto, which is somewhere between stocks and gold. Of course, there's everyone's favorite, real estate, and then you have business and or personal brands. To create and maintain wealth, you can use a combination of some or all of these. If you really want to make a lot of money, the best type of asset class is your own brand, your own YouTube, your own business, whatever it may be. Rich Dad for Robert Kiyosaki, Tesla for Elon Musk. That's the ultimate personal brand right there. The regular car sucks, so I'm going to build a better one. Or so he says. I'm Elon Musk. Buy my car. It's electric. Personal brand. I personally still love my gasoline engine, stick shift, Volkswagen transmission. And I ain't selling it for any electric car ever. So Tom Cruise is just Tom Cruise. Like, I'm a movie star, watch me flex my muscles and run really fast and jump off cliffs. That's Tom Cruise's personal brand. That's his business. Clearly, there's a million different types, but that's the one you want to mainly focus on because it's under your control. Then stocks. Remember, stocks are literally part of a company. So if you're starting your own personal brand, your own company, you're in control of the earnings and the profits and the way it works. With stocks, you don't have that control, unless, of course, you own a significant portion of the company. And remember, it's frustrating when stocks don't go your way. If you buy a wonderful company and then it goes down and you're stuck with an asset that is diminished in value, that really sucks. But then think to yourself, those companies that you're buying, they're worth billions of dollars. So they've gone a long, long way already. So ask yourself, can I do social media better than Zuckerberg? Can I make electric cars better than Musk? I don't know. Most people can't. Maybe you can. Better get off your ass though, because they have a really big head start on you. The point is, it's annoying to pick a stock in a great company and then watch it fall. But you're probably not going to do better yourself. So it's going to fall, it's going to come back if it's a great company. So it can be useful to diversify yourself in various types of assets, from your own personal brand, which you can control, to other things which you cannot, but you can still profit from, like stocks, which are companies that do something really well and make tons of money at it, way better than I ever could, and probably you too. So why not profit from their work? So when you buy stocks for long-term wealth building and protection of your principal, you want to choose stocks that are fundamentally sound. If stocks are on the Dow 30, that is the quote-unquote top 30 companies, they're likely to be more stable. If stocks pay a dividend, they're likely to be more stable and less resistant to market downturns. Pandemics, wars, and so on and so forth. But seriously, pandemics and wars never happened. Not for at least the last 100 years, right? So you don't have to worry about that. I mean, what is this, 1916? Top line revenue and earnings. Those are very important, as are dividends. When a company pays a dividend, it also has increasing earnings year over year. That stock is really likely to hold and increase its value over time. Those are the stocks you want for long-term holding, not for speculative explosions. And options are a way to move stocks faster. Options are really, really awesome if used correctly. They're not actually that risky. If played properly, they're less risky than stocks. Now, this is usually true when you're selling options. I'm going to talk about the best option strategies to make the most money with the least pain and the least risk in some future videos. I will get into it a bit here too. So I'll assume you have some basic knowledge of how puts and calls work, but if you don't, I'll make another video that explains the more basic concepts of that too. So puts and calls are the only two kinds of options. They always represent 100 shares of the underlying stock. So if you buy one call, you control one contract or 100 shares. If you buy 5 calls, you control 500 shares. So when you buy a call, you have the right, but not the obligation, to buy the underlying stock at a specified strike price. You pay a premium for this right. It's your contract price. When you buy a put, you have the right, but not the obligation, to sell the underlying stock at the specified strike price. To sell, you pay a premium for this right. It's your contract price. When you sell a call, you're offering to sell someone your stocks at the specified price. You're paid a premium for this offer. If this offer is exercised, you are obligated to sell your shares at the specified strike price. If you don't actually own those stocks, you better have enough money in your account to cover them. When you sell a put, you're offering to buy stocks at a specific price. Whenever you sell options, puts or calls, you get paid money that you get to keep no matter what happens to the shares. This is premium. This is pure profit. This is income. Stocks, when played with options, are a regular recurring income producing asset, just like real estate, but with no broken toilets. If you sold a call on Apple for $200, that's $200 pure profit, no matter what happens to your shares. They can go up, go down, you keep that $200. Now, if you sell 10 calls on Apple at $200 each, that's $2,000. Let's say you do that once a week, that's $8,000 a month. See how this adds up? Of course, you have to have the shares to cover the options, or else you have to have spreads open or something like that, but we can discuss those things later. So whenever you buy options, puts or calls, you have to pay money that is gone, no matter what happens. The shares, that's premium paid. However, you're owning the option contract and you can sell it back, though the price may change quickly in either direction depending on what the stock does. The closer the contract gets to its expiration date, the more value it loses until it expires. When you buy options, you're hoping the underlying stock moves in the direction your option predicted and you can make a profit. However, since you always start in the negative, you have to make up the cost of the option contract before making profit. More on options another time, but they are a really great way to earn consistent income in stocks. And then you have cryptos. They can be inflationary or deflationary, which go with stocks in a way, and also with gold and metals in another way. They're kind of like growth assets if they're deflationary. If they're inflationary, they can be like fiat currency, which, as we have recently seen with the good old USD, sure doesn't hold up its value when the market is flooded with new dollars. Similarly, if a crypto group keeps airdropping more and more tokens to its users, that can cause the value to go down as the supply increases. Cryptos can be staked and farmed in a liquidity pool, which is kind of like a savings account, but on steroids, with much higher rates of return, unless, of course, the price drops from the addition of more tokens or dollars into the pool. Last year on this channel, I geared down into a specific crypto asset class, which was very emergent, and that's gaming crypto. Crypto gaming. Now, crypto gaming in the long term is most likely to be a very high rate of return asset class. The problem currently is finding which, if any, of the current offerings and projects are going to make it to any significant portion of market share in the long term. Crypto itself as an asset class is very unstable. We don't know how it's going to turn out or which projects and coins are going to win. Bitcoin maxis will say, Bitcoin, of course. It has either the Immaculate Conception or it has the AOL effect. Bye-bye, floppy Felicia, floppy disk, CD-ROM. Bitcoin is deflationary. It's a limited supply, and that's great. But is it digital gold? Can it be used for anything practical? Ethereum seems to have started the use case for practicality with its smart contracts, which allow users to create and trade fancy pictures, and yes, many other things called NFTs. Now, NFTs probably have an enormous future ahead for all sorts of applications, yes, from fun pictures, to land titles, both virtual and real estate, to licensing, ticketing, membership in clubs, and all sorts of things we haven't even dreamed of yet. But again, who and which ones will win this game? Which systems? Crypto, if you are the seer like the Oracle and the Vikings, could be the ultimate fountain of wealth. But if you pick the 99 out of 100 projects that will fail, it can be the abyss of wreckedness. That's a word. Dude, what a wreckedness this NFT game is. I don't know. The promise of crypto is very grand, and the notion of self-regulating economies with egalitarian and democratic autonomous governance is like a Murray Rothbard wet dream come true. The hope is that the mechanics of the assets and the smart contracts, the way decentralization of economies self-scales and self-regulates, that crypto and blockchain assets and technology could be way more than just digital gold and fancy video games, but indeed an evolution of the economic and political system society lives by, and a gradual, peaceful common ground agreed upon erosion and atrophy of the current unjust political economic structures that grasp society. Okay, enough of my bleeding heart. Sheesh, back to wealth and riches. Gold. Gold has a limited supply. They only mine so much every year, and it also has a limited use. It's limited use. It's great for conducting electricity, and it looks really fancy on women and rappers. I personally like it too, and sometimes I still wear my cheesy old gold chain. And yes, I am a creepy uncle. But it's been an accepted store of value for eons before fiat paper money. So gold, as someone recently said on a podcast I listened to, do you love my attention to pristine journalism referencing? Someone said, gold is God's money. And that's great. Gold is tangible. You can hold it in coins, bricks, watches, necklaces. You can't make speaker wires out of Bitcoin, right? Now, Bitcoin might outdo gold, but gold has a way longer track record and thus is a safe store of value during wars and pandemics, which we've already reviewed are indeed a fairy tale and never happened in reality. There are a bunch of other good metals too, like silver, which is limited supply, and copper and so on, but we'll just stick to discuss gold because gold's the coolest. I mean, come on. Now, you can get exposure to gold by literally buying it, or through ETFs from your stockbroker, or maybe check your fillings in the back of your mouth, depending on how old you are. Real estate. The big real asset. It's the biggest, the baddest, and the best, and the worst of them all. Now, if you own a ton of buildings, you have real power. If there's a war or a pandemic, which never happens and is a fairy tale, you can hide in those buildings and use them as shields and protection. Try hiding under a brick of gold, leprechaun. The issue with real estate is that it's far more tedious and complicated to get into and maintain. Contracts, bidding, lawyers, understanding the numbers is far more difficult than calculating a few profit and loss possibilities and pressing the mouse on your computer to make a few $1,000s in options without calling anyone, signing anything, or leaving your house to go inspect some strange beaten down building on the wrong side of the railroad tracks. Real estate and land, however, are much more stable and long-term reliable income producing assets. Everyone, literally everyone, has to live in some form of a home. Not everyone has to watch a Tom Cruise movie, play an NFT video game, or drive an electric car. Not to mention commercial farmland, short-term rentals, storage, all other sorts of functions real estate can have. The barrier to entry is much higher, but it is closer to a personal brand or business because ultimately you are the one in control. So in the upcoming developments on this channel, WealthBringer, I'm going to cover various asset classes and various ways to enter them. So you want to focus on the asset classes that actually pay you first. There's a difference between net worth and cash flow. Cash flow is king, someone once said. Again, top level journalism. So look it up yourself. What am I, Google? Come on. The assets that can give you cash flow and direct income are your own company or brand, options on stocks, and real estate and land. Some people trade crazy speculative crypto to do this as well. Then for building net worth, a combination of various cryptos that are hopefully not going to rug pull, whether on purpose or accidentally, well-chosen stocks with good fundamentals, as many multi-family buildings as will fit in the state of Texas, and lots of Rolex and Patek Philippe gold watches. I unfortunately have a Tissot and it's made of rock. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you next time. Have a rich day.